And Nitro's Garage for all your automotive needs. Call 646-675-2349. That's 646-675-2349. For all your automotive needs, Nitro's Garage. Ask for Jack.
Thinking it over, the things you said to me. Started with something, with nothing, now we leave. So you were with me for a while, but now you're gone. And you know, wherever you go, I'm not far behind. I'm not far behind. Starting all over. Too many times we tried, pulling us under. Our time's been swept aside. So you were with me for a while, but now you're gone. And you know, wherever you go, I'm not far behind. I'm not far behind.
What's up there? Good evening, this peeps. Matty Rock here with Mr. Andrew Anderson, the Taskmaster Kevin Sullivan, and our special guest, Mr. Billy Silverman. Thank you, Billy, for being on the show tonight. We appreciate you, brother.
Hey, no, I appreciate you guys having me. It's a great pleasure to be on with Andrew and especially Kevin Sullivan. I've worked for Kevin for a long, long time. I've known Kevin for a long time, and he's a super, super good guy. And he also is just an incredible genius when it comes to the business.
Oh, thank you, Billy.
Did you send them? How much PayPal did it cost for that? That's a ringing endorsement.
That's between me and you, Billy.
I just
That's
heard Kevin's phone in the background. Bing! 150 seems light for PayPal, Kev. I'm just saying.
It does. It does. I thought the same thing. I should have asked for more, but that's okay.
Yeah.
So the cool part is you guys have a lot of history together, Billy. I'm gonna let Andrew start off with some of the questions, and I know you and Kev can do quite some history together. So I'm gonna let Andrew start off in this one.
Yeah,
Oh, Billy,
absolutely.
the last time I saw you, we were at the WrestleMania weekend in Tampa, right?
Yes. Yeah.
We were at WrestleMania weekend in Tampa, and before that was right before COVID when you refed one of my matches for Cahagas' Thunder Championship Wrestling.
Thunder Championship Wrestling. Yep, exactly.
That was in Winter Haven, Florida. So, and me and you have worked a lot in the past, and we've been friends
absolutely. Absolutely. And we've stayed in touch and talked and, Facebooked and everything. So yeah, no, I feel honored that I've gotten to meet you. You're all over the place, my friend.
Listen to me, and I'm doing my best to bring you with me. Hint, hint, wink, wink, senior official.
I appreciate that very much.
So, and obviously our relationship with Kevin, both of us have worked with Kevin a lot over the years. That was a bond for me and you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Because like I said, Kevin is a great guy. I don't even want to say how many years I've known Kevin. I started in 85 and I met Kevin, I think in like 86, sometime around there.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, because remember, when I started, I broke in with Mario Savoldi, and
Right.
you were in Boston at the time, and you had come up a few times up to Maine, and that's how I had originally met you.
Yeah. When we were running against Vince up there.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then you and Tony Rumble became very good friends.
Yeah.
And I used to work for Tony as well. And I was friends with Tony. So there's always been that really kind of cool connection with you and I, Kevin. So I feel grateful that I've gotten to meet so many great people, but especially you. I've always been a big fan of yours. I've been a fan of your booking and just seeing what you have done with WCW. I mean, you were a big part of taking that from not being what it was to what it became.
Well, thank you for the kind words, Billy. But think about this. One night I looked in the dressing room. Guys, I wanted you to think about this. Here's the talent I had in the dressing room. I had Blackjack Mulligan, Barry Windham, Mike Rotunda, Austin Idol, Mark Lewin, King Curtis, Bruiser Brody, Gary Hart, Abdullah the Butcher, Jumpin' Joe Savoli, and
Superstar.
Superstar Billy Graham. That's not a
Yep.
bad. That's not a bad dressing room to start, is it?
No, it's not. That's like a who's who of all the greats that have, been in the business. So yeah, no, that's an incredible dressing room, and all those people came through.
Yeah.
Who was running it at that time? Was it Angelo or Mario?
Who was
Uh,
what?
Was Angelo running it still, or was it Mario?
It was Angelo. I mean Mario, but he had a backer, and that's how he got all. He was on TVs across the country.
Yeah, he was. He was.
I mean, that's why how I originally hooked up with Mario, because their TVs were in all the Florida towns.
Yes, they were. They were, because they used to bring up Florida talent. They brought up, God, like you said, all
Luger.
the names that you said,
Yeah.
they brought up.
Wahoo, Luger, Slinker, and so how they got the TVs, his backer owned the rights to the Bugs Bunny cartoons.
Oh,
So
wow.
he would go into TV studios and meet with the program director, and everybody wants that for Saturdays for the kids. And he'd
Yeah.
say, well, as they're making the deal, he said, "Oh yeah, there's one more caveat. You got to take this wrestling show." That's how they got on all those good
Wow.
channels.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Wrong move.
The deal, huh?
What?
Bugs Bunny sweetened the deal.
yeah.
Without the cartoons, I don't think they were on big, powerful stations.
They
too.
were. They were all over the whole United States. They were in the New York market. They were in New Jersey. I mean, they had quite a thing going for themselves.
Watch it. I watch it.
What?
I used to watch it, Kevin. It was up here in New Jersey. And then later on, Mario, when he had that, what was it called? International World Class Championship Wrestling. That was on when he brought some world class over there in the Texas area, I think. And briefly, very briefly, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did a lot of too. I mean, he brought in the AWA guys. I worked with those guys. I mean, he brought in at one time, he brought in the Canadian office. That's how originally I met Ming. He was in the Canadian office with like Gino Brito, Dino Bravo, Richard Charlot, just a whole host of all those guys that were in the Montreal office. And again, that's how I met Ming originally, who's become one of my very, very closest and dear friends.
Great guy. Great guy.
People don't understand how much money he drew in Montreal. He was over in Montreal big time.
Big money.
And the funny thing was, after Mario kind of folded the tent, that let Tony Rumble go into the towns in New England. And Tony used to draw big crowds. I remember the first time I actually worked for Tony. I don't know if you were there, Billy, but he ran Bill Ricker.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he had a sellout guy. Tony was a very smart guy.
He was. And it's just, he didn't have the TV though behind him. That was the problem.
Yeah, but he had a friend that this is when telemarketing first started. Do you remember this?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he'd have telemarketers call, and that's how he sold out all those buildings.
Oh, yeah, I remember now. You're right.
Yeah.
And I can't think of the guy's name. There was a guy that he did a bunch of shows with Tony like that. And I can't for the life of me think of his name. I just don't know. But yeah, you're right. I remember that. Bellrica. Where else did he used to run? There was Bellrica, Melrose. Trying to think of some of the
Walpole.
Walpole.
And he ran towns in Connecticut.
Connecticut, yeah, Wallingford, Connecticut, because he had, I think, I almost want to say, I don't know if you remember this, Kevin, was it his cousin or somebody he was related to that owned that Toyota dealership?
Were you there the night I had the riot there with his cousin?
Yes.
I put his cousin to sleep and they.
Tommy Savoldi?
What?
Was it Tommy Savoldi?
No. This was the Savoldis weren't involved in this. This was the Tony Rumble thing.
Rumble.
Tony Rumble, his cousin owned a huge car dealership and he had like 20 car people working selling cars. So we didn't smarten anybody up, and I forget who I was doing, and he jumped in the ring to stop me. I put him to sleep. And when I did, all these people hit the ring and I'm kicking and punching them and I stopped to get them up real quick. But Andrew, you love this. Where the guy paid us, but he paid us in checks. It was an afternoon show, the first time. So we got to go. He sends us to the bank to cash the checks. It was on his, the bank that he had written the card on. We go down and Metal Maniacs in full paint. He goes
I remember now.
Yeah, crazy.
He was in the bank with full makeup on, right?
Yeah.
He was always in full makeup. He was crazy like that.
No comment.
Matty, you love the Metal Maniac, don't you?
Yeah, like bloody hemorrhoids.
Nah, Jeff's a good, funny story.
Jeff is an awesome guy.
Jeff got me my start in the business because he actually introduced me to Snooker. Actually, Snooker introduced me to him, honestly. Jimmy came walking into a bar when I was bouncing, and me and Jimmy started talking and everything. And then all of a sudden, Jimmy said, I'm going to introduce you to this guy. He doesn't drink. He said, but he goes, watch him. He's going to try to pick up all the women. And I never seen anybody pick up more women than Jeff did in one night.
You're right, too. You're right.
He knew how to, he had that gift of gab,
He did. And he was a cool guy. He really was a cool guy. He is a cool guy.
I think he's coming up here in New Jersey on May 7th for Tommy Fierro's
I think so. I'm pretty sure he is.
Award, like an indie award for like ISPW Legends Award or something like that, which is great. I mean, Jeff deserves it. He's a great guy,
He is a really cool guy.
And he worked everybody. I mean, people bust him, they say this and that, about him and Snooker, but Jeff really did a lot for a lot of people, and he really did a lot.
People don't realize that he did a lot for a lot of people.
He did a lot for me. Did a lot for me. So, he knock a good guy, when he's down, and people try to do that. So, but they do that to everybody. They're trying to knock me. They're trying to knock you. They don't care. They got nothing better to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
and I look at it like this. I look at it like I know a lot of people in the business, and I've met a lot of people in the business, and I judge everybody on how they've treated me or how they've done me, not on what somebody says about somebody or what, you know what I mean? That's all you can go on, is how you were treated, not by what people say, because people are going to say what they want,
Really, I got a question.
Yeah.
Of all the matches you ever refereed, name me like the most important match you were ever involved in. I mean, you were involved in a lot. It's so hard when people ask me that, Kevin. It's really hard to say because, again, I don't want to discount any of the talent that I've ever been in the ring with, because I've been in there with everybody: Brett, Owen, Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, Sid. What's that?
Rude.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I've been in the ring with everybody, and I've been in some really great matches, and I've been in some matches that haven't been so great. But I say I've learned a lot from no matter who I've been in the ring with. And to say like one match was greater than the other, I don't want to discount anybody's talent in that ring, because everybody I've worked with in that ring has been very, very talented. And I've been blessed and very lucky to be able to be in the positions that I was in. Great answer. I got another one for you. All right.
Were you ever in a riot? Or any
Um,
dangerous
I'm
positions?
trying to think. If I was in a riot, it must have been when you were involved. I'm sure of that.
That's a ringing endorsement, Kevin.
Yeah,
Not that I'm aware. Oh, no. That's not true. In Lewiston, Maine, Mario Savoldi had brought up David Schultz.
yeah.
And David was just like you know how David was. He was crazy anyways. And it just, this big thing broke out and there was this big fight and the police came and everything. Because I remember I was the one that took David because they were going to arrest David. And I put David in my car. And Mara was like, put him in your car and just take him. And so I left with David in my car. And there's this big fight breaking out in the middle of the arena and everything. So yeah, I guess I could say I've been involved in one riot.
Yeah.
Everyone needs one good melee under their belt, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's funny you mentioned Lewiston, Maine. That's where Allie fought Liston on the return match, that building.
Yeah,
I
well,
was-
listen
I
to
was
this.
barred from Lewiston, Maine for life.
I'm sure you were, but I'll tell you an interesting story, Kevin. My father was friends with the gentleman, his name is Sam Michaels. He's now deceased. That's kind of how I got to be around the business too. Well, he was the one that promoted that Allie Liston fight at the Lewiston Armory. I actually have the original program and my father's ticket from that actual fight.
Wow. Do you know what was funny about that fight? How it ended up in Lewiston? The fight was supposed to be in the Boston Gardens.
Exactly.
They got wind that there was something wrong and they barred that fight from being in Boston and Louisville because it was only a 1,500 seat building.
Yeah, no, Lewiston is very small.
Yeah, it's a hockey arena.
Yeah, exactly.
And they didn't even sell that out. They were giving tickets away.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
See, that I did not know, but yeah, that building is pretty much famous for that.
Yeah.
That Ali Liston fight. I mean, just the fact that I have the program and the ticket from it is, to me, is like just pure gold. You know, I mean, that's a part of history.
History, man. It's history. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. But
So
yeah,
you-
I've been very lucky. Like I said, I'm so, like, I feel like right now so grateful to be on the line with like you and Kevin and Andrew, because I mean, Kevin has done so much for me and he's just been such a good inspiration and was always supportive of me and my work. And I'm like overwhelmed with gratitude. I really am.
Well, thank you, Billy. You did a very good job. And that's all you can ask for somebody
Yep.
who works. You did a good job.
Billy,
Yeah,
when
we need to be
One of the
around.
chefs, you're right up there, man. You're right up there with everybody. You were one of the
I
guys.
try and be. I tried to work really hard. I went out there and I just worked really hard, and I didn't want anybody to give me anybody. All I asked for is give me the opportunity and I'll prove myself.
Right.
Wow.
You did. How many years of working with and through greatness? I mean, that's all on its own, brother.
It is, you know, and sometimes I look back on it and I see things on Facebook or things in magazines and I'm like, wow, that's really me, you know? And it's like, sometimes it's hard to believe, you know, that I know all these people and, you know, I've met all these people or traveled in cars with people and had great conversations with people about all kinds of things, you know? Like I remember I was doing an indie show, and when I used to work in and out off a contract through the WWF, I like had the market for independent shows all over the Northeast. So I used to work all those shows. So whenever they'd bring in anybody, like I worked with Kerry Von Erich the weekend before he died.
Wow.
You know, and it was just so surreal when because I took pictures of us and different things and the show and stuff. And when I got the pictures back, I got them back in the morning. I remembered in the afternoon, somebody called and told me he had died. And I just thought,
Man.
wow, how
Billy,
yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, but was
No,
that
no.
show where he worked in New Jersey for John Arizzi?
No, it was in Pennsylvania for a gentleman named Dino Sana.
Dino Sana, yes. I worked
And
for
he
Dino
was
many
running-
times.
Yeah, and he ran shows all over New Jersey, and he used to bring in like, he used to bring in Carrie, he brought in Nails, he brought in Coco, he brought in a lot of people. He used to run quite a few shows, and I don't remember the areas. I just know they were, like they were usually high schools, but he used to sell them out. I mean, it was incredible.
Right.
Now, Billy, who used to run in that Pennsylvania clique? I remember you had Blaine DeSantis. You had Tom Rumsby, who passed away a few years back.
Yeah.
You know Santa, and that whole Pennsylvania area had their own promoters that ran in that South Jersey, Pennsylvania area.
Yeah. And the one that I mostly worked for was Dino Sana.
Yeah.
He was the one that booked me quite a bit. And so, like I said, because I knew all the guys from the WWF, so they'd want to travel with me, obviously, rather than travel with somebody they didn't know, kind of thing. So it was really kind of cool to have that position. And then I remember for me, probably the biggest event of my career will always be the first time I worked in Madison Square Garden. That to me was like, I mean, I guess they say when you worked in the Garden, you finally made it. And I didn't even think I had made it at that point. I just was like, wow, this is incredible to work the Garden. I'm sure you know, Kevin, you've worked the Garden many times, and it's
a whole different feel than any place in the world.
It is. MSG there's just nothing like it. It's really not
sports history, right? And that's something you get to say across the board. So you work something that's, a pinnacle of sports history. When people talk about, famous arenas in the United States of America, I mean, that's one of the pinnacles, right? So
it is.
To have that history under your belt, and like I said, you're a really modest guy, but think about the incredible things that all you guys did. I mean, that's the feeling. My ass has only been planted in a chair as a fan, but to be on the other side, looking out, and I got to tell you, that's a hell of a feeling.
Now, Billy, who's the main event when you worked that show?
I don't remember. All that I remember about it is the match that I worked. I worked with Kerry Von Erich against Big Bully Busick, and they put Kerry over. To be honest with you, I don't even remember. I was such in I don't even know, like a daze or awe. Exactly. I was in such an awe that I was just there, and having that or given that opportunity was like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't even know how to describe it because I was so young then. I was very young when the first time I worked the Garden. I was probably only maybe 25 or 26 at the time.
Wow.
And so even at that age, you're still, I guess I still marvel to this day, Andrew, that of the career that I had and the people that I met, it just seems sometimes it seems so unreal, like the fact that
career that you still have, you're still reffing, you're still working.
Absolutely. I do conventions, I do matches down here in Florida. So yeah, I still work. I kind of get to pick and choose what I want. I don't do a ton, you know what I'm saying? But I do a few shows down here, and I like it. I'm still healthy. I'm 60 years old, and I guess I was always worried, what was it going to be like to be 60? And it's like, I feel like I felt when I was 50 or 40.
Man, you look great. Dude, you always look young.
Yeah, I try.
The only other building, and it doesn't compare to Madison Square Garden, but the Madison Square Garden of the West was the Cow Palace.
Yes. Yeah, I worked there too when I was with WCW, I worked at the Cow Palace. That was another just incredible because again, that's part of wrestling history. I mean, that's real, to me, that's real wrestling history. Like now I don't know, I know there's still Madison Square Garden. The Cow Palace isn't even there anymore, is it?
Yeah, it's a historical landmark. I actually worked there. Well, I was there for a signing, and they had matches, and they drew a pretty good house.
Wow.
And,
you think about wrestling history, you got to think of the 2300, right? Out in Philly.
Yeah. I actually worked for 3 different people, actually 4 different people in the Cow Palace. I worked for Roy Shires.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Then I worked, Florida ran San Francisco for a while out of Florida.
Really?
Yeah. And Blackjack ran the Cow Palace out of Knoxville for a while.
Okay.
WCW. So
Back
Spectrum, the LA Forum, trying to think.
The Olympic Auditorium in LA, which is gone now.
I actually had the opportunity to work there when I was young.
No, who trained you, Andrew?
Snuka, Nikolai Volkov, Gino Caruso.
Oh, okay. I know all those guys. Awesome, dude.
Mike Masters, he wrestled as Rocky Jones for a while.
Yep. Yeah, I know Mike.
Mike trained me. Mike Jones, he trained me, and Jerry Fazio, one of the executioners.
Yeah.
You know, Jerry Fazio worked for a lot for
Yeah.
You know, and I worked for a lot for Mario. I work a lot for Mario. Actually, Tommy would always run shows in the Parsippany area.
Yeah.
All over, you know, there's in
Oh yeah, I loved Kutch's. That was awesome.
That was good times. JYD,
Yep.
Nikolai, Beefcake,
Yeah.
Valentine.
All
God,
those guys came through there. Mario had everybody. SD, Mike Shaw, I am Mike Sharp, Ivan Putski.
yep.
Yeah. Bob Backlund,
Larry
Billy Graham. Exactly.
It was yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time.
was.
Brutal on those shows too.
Yep.
You know?
Exactly. It was a lot of fun. It was, when I think back, those were some really great fun times. You know, they
Yep.
really,
George Steele, I'll never forget the first time George Steele came up to me, and he went over to me and he said, "Kid, come here, help me pull these up." I pulled up his trunks and he had a colostomy bag.
Yeah.
Trying to rib me. He was like, "Come here, hold this." He put it in my hand. I looked down. I was like, "What the?"
I know. He did that to me before too. I was like,
Man, got me. That was at Kutcher's, man.
yeah, it was. It was. Oh my God. That's a long time ago. Most of those hotels now are not there. Most of them have been knocked down. I know one of them is a casino up there, but Kutcher's is no longer. Has been knocked down.
That was a land, and that
It was.
No. Call it the Jewish Alps, right?
Yes. Like the Neville is gone. Trying to think what else we did. The Neville, Kutcher.
Yep.
And there was one other place we used to go to, and I don't remember it right off the top of my head, but I know all of them are gone. They're not there.
Standing next at the breakfast buffet. That was one of the funniest things I've ever dealt with.
Yeah. And yes, no, because they all, you know, that was a big venue for all the comedians up there. Jackie Mason. I don't know if you were there to see Jackie Mason.
It was called the Borscht Belt.
The Borscht Belt.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let me ask you another question, Billy. Yeah, how did you get into the business?
How I got into the business was alluded to a little bit before. My father was really good friends with a gentleman named Sam. His father's promoter in Maine. He promoted a gentleman who was the guy in Boston. There was another guy in
Ford. Abe
yes.
Ford?
He had like the Boston area. Then Bill Witchie, or was it Bill Witchie's like Rhode Island and everything, because he had Jack Witchie's sports arena.
You know,
And
let me interrupt you real quick second. Historical fact. You know that Friday night for over 50 years?
wow. I did not know.
Yeah.
Wow. And so I was kind of always around it, could do things with Sam, and he'd like drop off tickets and stuff like that. So I was always around. So I wanted to be involved in it, but I'm not big enough to be a wrestler. So I just was around it when Mario started coming up to Maine. He was originally partners with my friend Sam Michaels. They kind of all got together as a group. So I was just always there. Who Tommy Fernini is, who is Mario's cousin. He actually was down, and so he asked me if I wanted to be trained to be a referee, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, you know. And so he helped train me, and then the Samoans started running. Left Vince for a while, and they had seen me work for Mario, and then they asked me if I'd come do some shows for them, and so it just kind of all snowballed. Met somebody that was somewhere else. You know, like I got to work with Sergeant Slaughter in Sylvania when, and it wasn't Dino Sana. This was quite a while ago. What was the name who ran those shows in like Valley Forge and what was his, think of it, but because I had met Sergeant Slaughter and he liked my work, he recommended me to that guy. The shows with like was like Sergeant Slaughter, Don Can, like the Mad Russian or something like that. The Samoans, I worked with them. They helped to how to take bumps and things like that. And I was really lucky they liked me, because people they didn't like, they weren't in that ring. You know?
Billy, the guy you try to, and I'm trying to remember, wasn't he also into entertainment?
Yeah.
He was John Rizzi's friend.
Yes. That, what was his name? I can't for the you were talking about the same guy though, Kevin. I just his name.
I actually went with him for him and John to. I went to Hong Kong and the Philippines, Singapore.
Wow.
Jakarta for them.
Wow. Yep. That woman though. And then from there, I got to work with.
What Rob was his first name? Rob Raskin.
Yes. Rob. Yeah, it was Rob. Yeah, Rob Raskin. I think he's deceased now. I'm not sure. But yeah, that was the guy. I met him. And then there was another guy down in Florida who I met, who I worked for some shows. What was Ron? What was his name? He was friends with Sal Corrente.
Sal's a great.
Yeah, Sal's a good dude. Sal's a real good dude. I can't him. I've worked all over. I worked then in Chicago, they had a Paul Alperstein who ran a thing called AWF. Shows for them. I also worked for Crazy Herb Abrams. You know, that was an experience unto itself. In more ways than one, trust me.
That had to be.
Yeah.
Oh, crazy.
Were you there, Billy, when he jumped out the window?
That was at his uncle. Yeah, I think it was his uncle owned a franchise called, what was it? It was a sub. It was a national chain. I can't remember the name of it, but he was in his offices working and freaked out and was doing all kinds of things he probably shouldn't have been. And that's went down. Yeah, he was crazy. He was crazy with the like really crazy, and everything that he did, was, I mean, I think he had good intentions, and I think he had some great ideas, but just some people that should not be in the wrestling business.
Billy, as my mother used to say about good intentions,
pave the way to hell.
The way to hell is paved with good intentions.
Yep.
Yeah, and it was for him. He just see what happens though, Kevin, is like in the business, and everybody thinks they want to be Vince McMahon or Ted Turner or and it's not. It's just not gonna happen. So trying to be like that is just you're chasing something that's not going to happen. And I'll never forget this, Kevin. When I worked with Upperstein in Chicago for that AWF, the first night in the dressing room, he came in and he said, by the time this is all done, they'll be calling me Turner McMahon. And I looked at this guy like, have you lost your mind? Yeah. Like that's something like that. You know what I mean? And he was out of business. He just spent so much money, people sick money that he really didn't have. His claim to fame was, or how he got his money to get into the business was, he owned a processing company for like Visa and MasterCard. Yeah. So that's where his money came from. Blew at everything on these shows, and they weren't drawing. And I think, I think they saw him coming. They really did. You know what I'm saying?
You have the opportunity, Tom Casati.
Yeah, I can say I've had the opportunity to work a couple of times. I can't say I was a fan. I'm not saying
No,
anything. I'm
he was
just saying
had good intentions, right?
yeah, good intentions that paved his way to being broke. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, he was in the
smart.
sense of a word, and what I think of him. You know,
Yeah.
think that and why would you do that? Get all that money, you inherit all, and then go and blow it on wrestling shows.
And
I mean, you
put on wrestling shows, but he would fly the boys to a venue that was not even
didn't even like in the Bahamas.
Hang
He'd
out
fly
with everybody to the Bahamas or somewhere, you know, just their friends. It's crazy, man.
Yeah, because I remember one time he flew a bunch of people, and I said down there, and he said, "Oh, I don't need a referee." And I'm thinking, how do you run shows and not referee? I'm thinking, well, maybe your fat ass is getting in there and ref, and I don't know, you know.
A little more money, and he flew a lot of us out to Vegas for a show that would be just a party at one of the casinos, you know.
Exactly.
Money from that thing, so it was crazy.
He did, and he just blew all that money, and I've seen it so many times. There was another guy in
Boston, right? Show. I just read something about that that anniversary show.
Yeah,
he blew over $100,000 on one show.
all sick money. I was on it. I mean, he paid me like goofy money, you know, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah, exactly. You got to take it when it's there. I wish I've worked for so many people. Some of them I just don't remember, you know. But remember that guy, and his mother had died or something and left him like a boatload of money, and he just blew it all in like one swoop, you know.
It's
All right,
sad.
guys, we gotta take a quick pause so we can pay our sponsors. So we'll be back in about.
Gotta buy some groceries.
Yes, sir. Some groceries, some Doritos and stuff for me.
Great stuff, Billy. Great stuff, man.
Thanks.
Hey there, folks. We are back with our special guest, Billy Silverman. Been sharing a lot of fun stuff with us. We appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you having me on.
Right on. So I think things that Andrew and Kevin want to talk about too is what some of the stuff you got in the pipeline and some projects that you're working on.
Absolutely. Well, I have couple of shows coming up in Florida. I'm working for a gentleman named what is his Frank Goodman. I've been working for some shows for Frank Goodman. They're here in Florida, so they're local, and he treats me real good, takes care of me. So I do all of Frank's shows. I've got some. I can't quite talk about it yet because it hasn't been announced, but when it is, then I'll be able to talk about it. Really cool.
I hear you're going to be the senior official on that show.
Yes, absolutely,
Yep.
Absolutely. I am the senior official.
Everything down by the middle.
Yeah, right. Especially if you're in the ring.
Oh, let's go. I might have the devil behind me right there.
Yeah. Exactly. You need the devil behind you, somebody to keep you out of trouble.
He says
Billy,
he's in trouble.
Yeah.
let me ask Billy a question. Billy,
Yeah.
how long have you been living in Florida?
I moved to Florida in 3 years.
Okay. Was it hard to leave Maine, or was it good to leave?
It was really hard for me because I'm from there. I have a lot of real. Probably the hardest part for me is being away from my friends because I'm an only child, and my family is. They're not only from the wrestling business, have friends that are lifelong friends, but I've also had friends like my family. I mean, they really are. And so that was the hardest thing for me, but I just got winters, you know, you're from Boston. So, you know what it's like up there. It's cold and nasty. And I just got so tired of it one day, and I just to Florida. So I like Florida. The summers are a little rugged because it's really hot super hot. But there's a lot going on. There's a lot to do. There's a lot more to do than there is. And I just like, it was just cool to move somewhere. I'd never moved. Always lived in Maine, and so I got to, had an opportunity to have a place to live when I came to. Yeah, it's all been really fun. And then, like I said, I've worked some shows. People run shows down here or there, and yeah, I like Florida. I really do.
Billy, where were you in Maine?
I was from a town called Auburn, Maine, which is right beside Lewiston. I was actually born in Lewiston at the hospital in Lewiston, but I grew up, lived in Auburn, which is literally, it's just across the bridge from Lewiston.
When I was a kid, a friend of mine's family had a place on Belgrade Lake.
Yes, nice, very nice.
It was beautiful.
It is. Maine, beautiful place. It really is. We have low crime, but the thing about Maine is that we are one of the highest tax states, but yet we're the lowest in income in the country. We're like number 48 when it comes to income. So it's really hard to live there. I mean, most people have to work, unless you work for like a major corporation or something like that. It's really hard. It's hard to make a living in Maine. I was very blessed. My father had a great job. He worked for the United States for 35 years and retired from there. My mother owned a business, so we were pretty lucky. I was very blessed, you know what I mean? Because Maine is not the easiest place to live, to work. It's because there are a lot of low-paying jobs, and it's tough for people to living there.
Now, Billy, how far did you live from Tony Atlas? Because Tony lives up in Maine.
Yeah, Tony lived we used to travel together all the time.
I love Tony.
Yeah, I love Tony too. He's a great guy, kind of crazy, but great guy. He really is.
Around Tony Atlas.
But probably, what's that?
Never Tony in the picture.
Never, ever, especially when there's a pretty girl with,
Crazy, right?
What's that?
Crazy. It gets crazy after a while with him. It's funny.
It does. It is funny. It's so common. No, I live from where I grew up, from where Tony lives, maybe 2 or 3 miles. He lived in Auburn when he moved there. Well, first when he moved there, he lived when he first came up there to work for Mario. And then he met his wife. She lived in Auburn, so that he moved in with her in Auburn. And during his his last run with Vince, he made enough money, he told me, to buy a duplex. So he bought a duplex, and he lives in one and rents the other one up above. But his wife, from what I understand, the last time I actually talked to Monica, she's in a rehab hospital. She had a very bad stroke.
And she's being taken care of full time now. She needs full time help.
Yeah, and it's too bad because she's a wonderful woman. If you ever met her, you would fall in love with her. Sweetheart. I was very close with her, very, very close with her. And I felt bad when I had heard, she had that stroke, because she was a very healthy woman. She, believe it or not, kind of off topic, but how she came to this country was she was in the circus. She was a circus performer. That big ball they have where they have somebody on the ball and then catches somebody on their shoulders. She did that.
Wow.
And so then circus went to, which was communist? Was it East Germany or West Germany? Germany was.
East Germany was communist.
Well, she went to they allowed she was with to go to West Germany, and she never went back. She fled the circuit, or not fled, but she never went back because she didn't want communist rule. And then somehow she ended up in Maine. I don't really quite remember that. She's a wonderful, wonderful woman. I mean, she'd have to be to put up with Tony all those years.
I hear Tony right now. Oh, come on, Billy. Lighten up on me, Billy. Lighten up.
Yeah, you got that right. Right.
Matty and I had plans together with Tony. So
I'm sure you did. He's a great, great man. I mean, I'm very grateful for him because he got me a lot of bookings. We used to travel together all the time. I mean, he's a big part of why I got to work at a lot of places too, and how I got seen by a lot of nothing but gratitude for Tony.
Same here. I first met Tony, Mario, and then I met him again. We didn't see each other for about 3-4 years, and then I met him in Hawaii in '90.
Okay.
And friends from there on. I mean, really close. Me and Tony got really close. It's one of my.
Yeah.
I'd work him every night on the Indies because I was the guy, the big jacked up meat, working him. You know. So,
yeah, exactly. He, like I said, he was great. He was great to work with. Like I said, we were very dear friends for many years. My father very well, and him and my father used to go have lunch, and so yeah, no, Tony's a good guy. I miss the fact that I don't get to see him all that often because he's obviously in Maine and I'm in Florida now, but like at different conventions and cons and stuff like that. So hopefully he's doing well. I haven't recently talked to him, but hopefully he's doing well.
Well, he has a YouTube channel. He has a show on a podcast on the Monty and the Pharaoh YouTube network, like we do.
All right.
I'll tell you a unique thing about me and Tony. For the first time on Tony Atlas in the Omni, we were partners. In 1980 Olympics, when we boycotted the Olympics.
Oh.
Do you remember Jane Kennedy?
Yeah.
Afro-American broadcaster. She was
she had a home.
Broadcaster.
Believe it or not, she had a home. She had a summer home in Rockland, Maine.
Well, when Tony and I were partners, Tony and I did an interview. There's no East, there's no West, there's no North, there's South, and we're all Americans. And an Afro-American kid on my lap, he put a white kid on his lap. I'm going to get ready the following Omni show to Tony, and Barnett calls me up to his office in the Omni. And I thought, oh God, I'm going to get fired, right? And he said, come on, my boy. He said, do you want some cognac? And Jim would drink out of his pewter cups.
Yeah.
I said, I guess so. I figured this is my throat being cut. He said, Jane Kennedy's going to come in 2 minutes. And it was her. And she said, this is the first thing we've ever seen that was in a positive light.
Wow.
So they put us over Koloff and Smirnoff for the belts that night.
Yeah.
Played it on NBC News. They said, even though the Olympics were boycotted, the USA team won the world title tonight. They showed it. 2 shows later, I turned heel on Tony. That was the first time I was a heel.
Wow. There's a piece of history right there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tony was an amazing athlete.
Oh,
I mean,
he still is. I mean, for his age to still be able to go out there and do what he does. I mean, he's like what, 6'1" or 6'2", maybe even 6'3", and the drop to do.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing for somebody that height to be that good of a drop kick.
I'll tell you another quick story, funny story. When he first broke in the business, he broke into Charlotte, and they gave him a push right at the beginning.
Okay.
So George Scott was the booker, and he said to Tony, I want you to shine tonight. Don't do too much selling.
Yeah.
So when he went in the ring, he gave too much but a rookie doesn't know any better, right?
Yeah.
So back to the dressing room, George walks in and he said, Tony, I told you to go out there and shine. What were you doing? He said, George, I put on almost a whole bottle of baby oil. I couldn't shine anymore. Could I? George just shook his head and walked back.
All I can see is,
yeah, exactly.
When Tony that story, the laugh that comes out of him, he goes, Drewy, so much baby oil on. He goes, I couldn't shine any more than I already did.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, Tony's a good guy though. A lot of great guys, and there's a lot of great guys in this business. There
Well,
really are.
Terry's last match with Bully Busick, or that was the one you did at the Garden.
Yeah, that's the Garden. I actually did his last match in Pennsylvania too. It was, who did he work with? Brought him in and he worked with a local guy. I know I did the match because we were traveling together. And I remember it was a weekend and I took a bunch of pictures, and then I went, and that was when these cameras, you took the film and you had it developed. And and I remember looking at these pictures weekend, and then I got a phone call saying he had passed away, and it was like, wow, you know how fleeting life could be. That 3 days ago I was driving in a car with this man.
Nick Busick, good friend of mine.
Oh, Nick Busick was the best.
He was unbelievable, man. He was underrated and such a gentleman, and he suffered with cancer for a while, and I loved it.
I saw him about a year or two before he died, and just amazed at how much he had shrunk, because he was a real big, thick guy. Just, I think, truly, you know, big. He worked out and everything, but he was like he was just like the cool, you know, he really was, and I don't know how anybody could say anything bad about him, because he was a really cool guy, you know, and he was truly a gentleman. A lot of people, I say that about Kevin. Kevin has been nothing. No, and I honestly mean this, Kevin. You have never been anything but a gentleman to me, and I honestly mean that. You know, and you as well, Andrew. Nothing but a gentleman to me.
We're family, bro. Family.
Exactly, and I think that comes when you travel on the road with people. People don't realize that it's a whole different world. It's a whole life, and the people that you're around is who really they become your family. If shit goes down, they're going to be the ones that are going to help you, or you're going to be the one that's going to help them, or something like that. It's like you're who you're with is basically who you have to depend upon. Like,
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And there, you know, and this business creates a bond that regardless, I mean, you could work with somebody once or you could work with them 100 times, and, you know, become very good friends with them and have great respect for them. Like, I mean, especially for me, Kevin, I have such great for what you did with WCW. I mean, you really took a company that had kind of okay, but really was mainly floundered, you know what I mean? And just really did well because of his money. And you really took it and took some talent and really took it, you know, made it take off. You really did.
Well, thank you, Billy, but you have to have the talent. You were part of the crew. You know, I had the best talent. It was like the 1927 Yankees.
It was the perfect crew. I mean, everybody was there.
Wait, hold on. Haven't just put over the Yankees?
Yeah,
I heard that, and as a Yankee fan, I'm sticking with what I heard.
Put over the Yankees. Never.
Well, they had the best team of all time, supposedly.
Hey, all I heard is I'm putting over the Yankees. We're sticking with it.
Billy said about who's the best. Different eras, different times. But but it's like in football, I think the 85 Bears were the greatest team of all time.
There you go. But also, too, and I don't think enough credit goes to Eric Bischoff for what he did. You know what I'm saying? Because he was a big, huge part of that too, Kevin. You know, I mean,
he had the way that he had to compete with Vince, and he was smart enough to understand when he had talent over, he brought years of Vince pushing guys.
He did.
He didn't have to work. They were open when they walked in the door.
Exactly. And I just don't think, you know, in hindsight, I think people like to criticize him, but as I can say he deserved everything he got as far as success. He really did know what he was doing. I don't care what anybody says.
He did know what he was doing. Absolutely. Eric thought outside of the box, and he was a huge factor. And we had a hell of a run, and we could have probably still had that run, but they bought wrestling. They bought Turner. They didn't want wrestling.
No.
They didn't care what and I knew when I saw him come back from a meeting one day, he didn't tell me that he knew the clock was running out.
Yeah. And it's but I think there was a lot of, I think that bringing in Vince Russo, I think that was a mistake.
Yeah, I'm on the thing, Billy. I try to not knock anybody
Oh,
anymore.
no, and
I know
I'm
you're
just
not I know you're not knocking, but here's the thing. They brought him in, they gave him cash, but they should have saw what was going on. You know?
Yeah, so I don't blame Vince Russo. I guess I blame the corporate, corporate structure of what was, because I don't think the AOL truly understood what the wrestling business was and what it was about and how to make it profitable.
Right. And they weren't, Vince is a wrestling guy. The North Tower didn't know anything about it. You're absolutely right. But getting back to Eric, he did a magnificent job. We had a great run, and that's what I look at.
Exactly. That's all. I was blessed to be part of all of that. And it was a great run. We had good times. I met a lot of people. I had a lot of great experiences. So I feel blessed. I feel very.
Well,
I'm
Billy,
sad that it ended, but.
Yeah.
Billy, in relation to Daytona.
Daytona, I'm probably like 3 hours away.
Because me and Kevin are going to be in Daytona on Sunday. Daytona.
Where
Okay.
Where are you located, though?
I live in Palmetto.
Oh,
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
I'm down near like Sarasota, Bradenton, that area.
Yeah.
Palmetto a month ago, 2 months ago.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, the promoter lives there in Palmetto. I stayed over there in the hotel over there, and then by his house. And
where was the show in Palmetto?
it was Palmetto. The show was in Lake Waimama. It was
Okay.
at this big church arena at Lake Waimama. It was convention center.
Okay.
And,
All right.
February 23rd or something like that. It was a good turnout.
Oh,
I was
nice.
expecting to see you there, but
I knew about it. I might have. I'm not
hooked
sure.
up with CWF, which is wrestling from Florida.
Oh,
So-
yeah. Those guys. What is it?
Jeff Weaver.
Yes. Yeah. I met those guys before. I think isn't one of them from Bradenton? I want to
Yeah.
say. Yeah. I lived in Bradenton for a short while. I met and had drinks with him before, and so yeah, I know those guys. Yeah, like good guys.
For an office, Cuban Assassin, and
Tana. Yeah, I know all those guys.
yeah, all good guys.
Drew,
So
Drew, let's ask Billy what he's got coming up soon. Do you have anything coming up, Billy? Do you want to
Yeah,
plug
I do. Yeah,
Okay.
I have a show for Frank Goodman that's coming up, say June 26th. Again, I have something else happening in
Right.
I can't really talk about yet because it hasn't really been announced. But
that's November.
yeah. Oh, and there's also November too. I don't want to forget November. Absolutely, November is going to be a month for me. Big month for me. But I do have something coming up. Again, I can't really talk about it yet because it hasn't been announced.
Okay.
But it's going to be something really cool. I'm really excited about it.
All right, so this is one of those stay tuned moments. So we're going to have you on the show again, Billy. So as we get closer, you could fill us in.
Us reunite in November. I just
Yeah.
can't say where it is, but I'm going to say the four of us will get together in November.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. And then I'm trying to think, what else? Do I have anything else? I can't think of anything else right now I have coming up. But I do, like I said, I have something really cool coming up in September. Like I said, it just hasn't been announced yet, so I can't really elaborate it on it yet. But then there's going to be also a really great thing happen in November that I'm really excited about, that you and Kevin and a bunch of other people are involved in. So I'm really excited about that. So yeah, I've got a bunch of little irons in the fire.
Awesome. And
Outstanding.
I'm going to be on April 24th in Daytona at the Ocean Center for Wrestle Daytona, and I'm wrestling Romy Acevedo. I think I said his name right. Big Romy from La Sangra. And that's going on from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. this Sunday.
Oh,
And,
cool.
and May 7th is the 80s WrestleCon at the Menon Arena.
Yeah,
in,
yeah.
New Jersey. So I can't wait to be there for that. And we got a
Where?
lot.
Where?
Yeah.
Where?
Menon Arena in New Jersey, May 7th.
Yeah,
Okay.
for
80s WrestleCon.
yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll be with you, big boy.
And then you'll be with us also, Matty. You'll be with me and Kevin at the Barn Smoker in Orlando. What is it? The 13th, 14th, and 15th of May.
Right on, man. It'll be a blast, Billy. When we're done, we'll drop me an address so I could send you some smokes out of the collection for you to enjoy.
Yeah,
Guys,
absolutely.
this has been a great time, guys. We got to wrap because the hour flew on by. But Billy, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking about your illustrious career with us, and it's ever going, man. Much blessings, brother.
Billy, you've been a wonderful guest. You're a wonderful friend, and I love you with all my friend.
I do too. Thank you, Andrew. I can't thank you enough for inviting me on. Kevin, thank you. A million thank yous. You are the best.
Thank you, Billy.
We'll see you guys soon on the Monty and the Pharaoh Network.
Absolutely.
Guys.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
What? Yeah. No, I'm behaving myself. No, I'm not playing in abandoned buildings. What? Again? Now, I suppose you had those people follow me again. Fine. Hey, this is Jimmy Farrow from Monty and the Pharaoh, and I want to thank all our subscribers. We have now passed 14,000 on our YouTube channel. But I want to ask our subscribers to take the next step for us and become a full-fledged member of Monty and the Pharaoh. Yeah, that's right, folks. There's 3 different levels to choose from. There's free shirts, there's free autographs. Just check it out and become a member of Long Island's #1 pro wrestling broadcast, Monty and the Pharaoh. Later.